right now, we're part of a revolution. We're part of Web 3.0, okay? And essentially, we're continuing a long tradition of having technology empower people where previously they relied on gatekeepers. So if you go back to the 1990s, it was Web 1.0. If you think back, what is Web 1.0? Essentially, it's a web browser that speaks an open protocol called HTTP, all right? Before the web, we had gatekeepers. We had things like America Online, CompuServe, Prodigy, and MSN. These were closed networks that people could use to communicate. And people wanted to come on there and communicate. What Web 1.0 did is it allowed anyone to be able to start publishing their own website using a common protocol and also HTML, common language. Later, they added CSS and JavaScript to make them dynamic and style it to look beautiful. So what did that do? Well, in the past, people relied on gatekeepers. Before the web, if you wanted to get your message out, you needed to contact someone at a newspaper or magazine. You needed to get on the radio if you want to get your songs out. You needed to get on TV if you wanted to get your message out. With the web, all of a sudden, not only were you able to do it without anyone's permission, but also you were able to reach a global audience from the first minute. So you could publish something in Texas and someone in China would be able to consume it. The problem is, though, that it required a lot of technical know-how. And one of the things we're doing at Intercoin is we're going to start teaching courses about how to create these things. In addition to making it simpler, we're going to teach people about how this stuff works. But what could you do? So you basically hired people to build your website for you, okay? Then came Web 2.0. Web 2.0 brought with it a lot of stuff that you used to expect on America Online, CompuServe, and so on, which is to say you had profiles. You were able to chat with people. You were able to plan some events with them. And as time went on, you could even do video conferencing like what we're doing now. You see my avatar, which is pretty crazy. And you're basically able to video conference with people. And soon in the metaverse, people will be represented by these avatars. So you could be totally naked and it won't matter. Anyway, here then you also are able to do economic activity a little bit like checkout. So Web 2.0, again, rather than having each project create profiles from scratch, because they all need users' profiles, rather than having them recreate chats from scratch, what happened is they started to outsource this stuff to platforms like WordPress. WordPress powers 40% of all websites in the world. It's actually more than that now. So almost 1 in every 2 websites is powered by WordPress. So you see that? 31% of the internet? Well, now it's more. So it keeps growing because people like the ability to own their own brand, to own their own community, and to have that community essentially be on their own website. One of the earliest investors in WordPress was New York Times. And they probably use a modified version of WordPress to run their own site. So compare something like this, where they own their own site and they own their own subscription model, whatever they want to do, right? And they control their site however they want. Compare that to Facebook.com/New York Times, for example. Facebook.com/New York Times is a walled garden that New York Times has very limited control over. They could put their logo, they could put a few things, but ultimately people who use this can easily bounce and go somewhere else, right? As they go ahead and they see New York Times articles, they typically go ahead and they see all these articles, and then they go ahead and they see all these ads and these chats and all these things, and they get overwhelmed and they leave your site. So New York Times would much rather have people come on their own site. It's clean. But what they don't have is they don't have the Web 2.0 and 3.0. They just have publishing. So WordPress is great for publishing, but WordPress is not great for Web 2.0 and 3.0. So let's continue. What happened with Web 2.0 is people were able to finally communicate. They were able to have their own profile. They were able to have chats, events, and so on.